tonight. I want all of you tonight. Give me everything tonight. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. Let's do it tonight.
What they say, all the games they play, nothing is enough tonight.
Let's do it tonight.
I want you tonight. I want you to stay. I want you tonight.
Grab somebody sexy, tell them hey. Close your eyes, let's forget again. As you drag me down, I will take you in. What are you waiting for? Just surrender here tonight. What are you waiting for? As we go towards the light. When everything is said and done, still looking for answers. If only one turn my back, the edge has gone. Left with no reason, we come undone. Stop, turn back, or don't stop. 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 Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't take it higher. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? When everything is said and done, still looking for answers. If only one turn my back, the edge has gone. Left with no reason, we come undone.
on the ground. We see a
Hello everyone, and welcome to Thursday's URTL games. I'm your guys' one of the hosts. My name is Fear Dragon. I'm here with...
I am Master Dalk.
Yes, Master Dalk, and you're actually new to the URTL casting scene, aren't you? So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Alright, I am the caster for Team O Gaming. Mainly, I cast ESEA. I'm actually a little bit new to casting. Before I mainly did it to YouTube, but then I decided, let's go to Twitch. And well, now I'm here, and I'm also casting URTL.
Yay! So that's pretty awesome, but let's just go ahead and talk a little bit about today. So we are going to be casting Team ExG versus Team sMi, and I mean, Master Dalk, what are your thoughts on the alternating caps metagame in your team name? Because just to go into a little bit of what I was thinking, is just, EXG going with the capital E as the first letter, and then lowercase, then capitalized. Whereas Team sMi deciding we're going to go with lowercase first. So, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this? Which one do you think is stronger?
I think that the EXG's metagaming where their capitalizations is stronger. Like, if you can tell by my name, it's capital M, D, and K, not A, S, T, E, and A, L. Right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. First and last letter is gonna take it.
I have to agree with you. I think it just kind of stands out a little bit more. But, I don't think it's going to take away from sMi's ability to actually play the game. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and just really quickly go over URTL for those of you who might not know a whole lot about it. So, Master Dalk, what does a best of 7 King of the Hill style mean? What does that mean?
It basically means that these two teams are gonna send out one player each to start off, and then if you win the match, if you win the game, you stay in until you take a loss, and the first team to have 4 wins takes the whole match.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way of just easily describing it. And just really quickly, before we jump into the games, because I know I want to get started with these games already, but I just want to say a really big thank you to all of our sponsors. That's over at SC2 Gears. It's an awesome replay analysis program. Origin PC, they have really awesome gaming PCs. And Next Level SC2, they're going to be releasing some videos very, very soon as just for some StarCraft tutorials for all of you who want to get better at StarCraft. So please go ahead and check them out. But Master Dalk, are you pretty much ready to go ahead and jump into the game?
Yep.
All right, then let's go get started in just about now. All right. So we're going to be starting over here in the bottom right-hand corner as the green Zerg representing Team sMi. It is going to be sMi's Days. And who is spawning up here in the top left-hand corner?
On the top left-hand corner, we have the teal Protoss from EXG. It is so rad.
Indeed. So that does mean we're going to have a Protoss versus Zerg on our hands. And, I do believe that you play Protoss. Isn't that right, Master Dalk? So, what are your thoughts on the Protoss versus Zerg matchup?
My thoughts would be hit before Hive Tech. Make sure your Colossus don't die. And if it starts getting into a really long game, Archon Toilet.
Oh, Archon Toilet. I definitely love that stuff. It's just so satisfying as a fellow Protoss player to see all of those Broodlords going into that vortex and then just watching as they all decide to pop out. The splash damage just massacring all the Zerg army. Few things feel as good unless you're a Zerg player. So, what do you think we'll end up seeing opening up out of both of these players? What is generally the meta game for Protoss versus Zerg right now?
So generally, it sticks with the Protoss will forge fast expand, as if you look at Sorab's natural, you do see that there is a pylon right on top of that ramp there. And Day's already getting into his opener, which, in my opinion, usually ends up being a 14-16 opening going spawning pool first.
Mm-hmm. So that makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, you will be expecting that Zerg to plop down that hatchery over at that natural expansion. And, oh my god, the probe is already gearing up to block that hatchery. And this is like the most annoying thing in the world for a Zerg player. The Zerg player has to somehow find a way to kill off, or at least push that little probe back. And, you know, the probe's going to be there as long as possible just to block that hatchery and delay that, you know, expansion from going down and just delay the economy of Days. And of course, kind of like what you were saying, that spawning pool is going to be going up though, so you should have Zerglings out to deal with it. But no, gets the hatchery down anyways, it looks like.
Yep. And I think I'm a little bit ahead of you in this replay.
No worries. So I'm sitting around at 3 minutes and 15 seconds as that Nexus does go down for ExG's Sorab. And you know, this is a really nice time just to say, go ahead and vote for who you think is going to win. That's going to be over at xanderfever.tv/vote. So please go ahead and do that. We would love to see who you think is going to be winning. It looks like right now we have a 50-50 split, and I think that's pretty appropriate considering we really don't have a great idea of who's actually going to be winning right now. I mean, the game is just really getting started at this point. But I mean, you know, we do end up seeing the Protoss player going for that Forge Fast Expand, as you were so elegantly saying earlier, Master Dulk, getting up that Forge, getting up that Gateway, getting up that Cannon, and, you know, what do you think about the gas timing for this Protoss player? He's gone ahead and grabbed that first gas geyser around, you know, I think around 4 minutes as we're approaching the 4-minute 20-second mark. I'm really curious to see when he's going to grab the rest of those gas geysers. So, I mean, what do you think he's going to end up being able to do?
I think that's actually pretty normal, as he is just now dropping down his cybernetics core. So you really don't need to have like 4 or 3 geysers taken if you don't even have your cybernetics core yet. You mainly need the minerals so that you can make those probes and so that you can make the cannons and the early zealot.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I know that a lot of Protoss players will really like to do this kind of aggression with that first Zealot and potentially also the first Stalker, just to poke around and force some Zerglings or even a Spinecrawler out of their Zergy opponent, just because they don't really have a great idea of knowing, like, is this going to be a lot of pressure off of those 4 gateways or what? So, I mean, really could see a lot of different possibilities. This game is really still in the early stages, but one kind of interesting note is that Days still has not opted to grab that first gas geyser. I mean, we're getting close to the 6-minute mark very soon. I mean, we're about 20 seconds away from it. So, I mean, what do you think about the Zerg play?
Now, I think that he hasn't decided to take that gas just yet, or, well, has just recently dropped
Yeah.
needed the minerals so that he could get that early 3rd base. The quick 3 base is something that Stefano actually started, where you just don't take a gas, you go for those 3 bases and stay rather economically ahead. As I said earlier, Protosses will mainly go for a Forge Fast Expand. They don't want to deal any pressure right now. They just want to make sure that they don't lose to a 9 pool. But
yeah, I know, losing to those early Zergling rushes can be so frustrating when it happens, just because, I mean, it feels like you lost for almost no reason. It's just like, I made one small little mistake. So, I mean, good to see that we're not actually seeing that kind of loss early on for Team ExG. But, I mean, we do see the Zealot and the Stalker coming in. We're going to see what kind of pressure they're going to be able to do, as we even have a probe sitting nearby. And looks like you might try and plant down a proxy pylon, maybe?
Yep, and if you take a look at the production tab, he's even almost getting 3 more gateways up as well, so I think we're going to see a 4-gate here.
Oh man, this could actually be really deadly. Days is not prepared. He is making quite a few Zerglings, and look at that really nice micro on that Zealot, keeping it alive for a very long time before it finally does get picked off. And now the Stalker going to be retreating, and oh, the Zerglings just barely missing that surround. And it looks like, oh my god, one of the stalkers does get surrounded, and the other one very, very low on health, but it looks like he's going to be able to pick off that last little Zerglin that was chasing him. I don't know how much damage, more damage he's actually going to be able to do. 2 days at this point.
I'm not completely sure, as really the 4-gate, if it's not done swiftly enough, it won't be able to do too much, and Days even got his Roach Warren up as well, and Roaches, they can kill off the Zealots easily, and in a little bit of time, Days will have the right number so that he can take down those Stalkers as well. And now we even saw that Foxy Pylon got taken out as well by the Zerglings of Days, so that 4-gate pretty much just ended right there.
Yeah, you know, I think that Proxy Pylon will get taken out very soon as we're approaching, you know, very, like the point where the Roaches are coming out, and we do actually end up seeing a bunch of those Zerglings heading over to that Proxy Pylon and taking out just as you said. So, yeah, the Zealots also going to get cleaned up by these Roaches. I'm not sure how effective all of that pressure really was, as we can see over here in the Unicam station. I mean, 44 probes to 57 drones, and looks like we do see a Nexus going down around the 9-minute mark. So, really curious, do you think it was really worth it to do all of that pressure from Sorab, or do you think he gained something out of it?
Well, I guess all he really knew is that his opponent was getting a fast third base, but really that wasn't too effective. He lost a lot of resources in that for basically nothing.
Yeah, I completely agree. We look at the resources lost tab. We have 725 resources lost for the Protoss player, and meanwhile, oh god, we're actually going to lose some more right there as the Stalker at the Zelnaga Tower does end up falling to all those Speedlings, and yeah, 900 to 475 resources lost. Not really a position you want to be in, but you know, he does have quite a few cannons up over at that third, and that's actually going to push back those Zerglings for just a little bit. But look at this sentry count. This is actually kind of out of control coming out of Sorab.
Yeah, like, I don't understand why he's spending all that gas on purely sentries. Like, Ohana's a pretty narrow map compared to most of the other maps, so you don't need too many force fields to do much, and then he also is trying to keep the gas income going into those Stalkers as well. And it's not, if he was trying to do a Sentry Immortal push, it wasn't very orthodox.
Yeah, and you know, I'm kind of fearful for him right now as he is moving out across the map to do that Sentry Immortal push. But I mean, I guess he does catch quite a few of those Zerglings a little bit out of position, and you know, Daze does have an army behind all of this, and meanwhile he's taking that 4th expansion, but it's really going to come down to how well he's going to defend against this push from Sorab that it looks like he's gearing up to do, but kind of just sitting around for a little bit, and now finally going to go ahead and move out. And do you think Daze will be able to hold off this aggression, or is he going to be in a lot of trouble at this point? I mean, he has quite a few Roaches.
I think Sorab's actually going to be the one in trouble, as Daze, he's getting his 4th base right now, and he has the production. He's making 30 more Zerglings, getting the longer contribution, and the +1 melee attacks upgrade. And he has a lot more Roaches. Even 3 Immortals I don't think can be able to deal with this.
You know, we do end up seeing a bit of a couple of force fields going down as a small engagement occurs, and Daze a little bit on the retreat, so I think I agree with you. I feel like he just had a very, very large army, but unfortunately for him, he just kind of engaged at a not so great angle for him, and it really just did not end up working out too well. So we're going to see what ends up happening as, you know, we do have that infestation pit going down, so you know, just about 10 seconds up, so it's going to be still a little bit before it actually does finish up. So I mean, you know, where are the upgrades at right now?
Right now, currently, Sorab has 1-1 upgrades for his ground units, and Daze does not have anything. As soon as his +1 melee attacks finishes up, that's going to be his first upgrade, but I guess, of course, he can count the speed boost upgrades that come with any Zerg opening.
Oh god, but Daze actually just ignoring the entire army of Sorab, running straight into the natural expansion, and all of these Zerglings are going to be able to net a ton of probe kills if those probes were actually not pulled in time, but they were. pulling over to that third expansion, and now we do end up seeing that, oh my god, Daze could be in a bit of trouble considering his entire army is actually just completely cornered now.
Yep, all of his roaches are just stuck in the natural of Sorab right now, but they do pick off quite a few Immortals right there, taking out 2 of them, but currently Sorab, he has the six warp gates available at the time, and he cleans that up very nicely, and Daze actually does get out quite a few roaches though.
Yeah, I mean, he does kind of recuperate his losses a little bit, and we can see in the supply count, it is like 147 to 113, so I mean, Daze definitely not out of this just yet by any means. I mean, I guess he did do a little bit of economic damage, just delaying that mining from Sorab, but I mean, how is Sorab probably going to transition out of this? We did see that robotic space, so are we likely going to just be seeing a lot of Colossus being produced and then a push, or do you think he's going to potentially get some other kind of tech up before he tries to do anything?
I would think that he would try to get just a bunch of Colossus, as really it's mainly just Roach Zergling at this point, and if the Colossus can easily just take out the Zergling buffer, and then the Roaches will be pretty barren, which is actually a little bit of a low number at this point, and then the Immortals and Stalkers can take care of those.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. We do see a lot of Zerglings and Roaches actually coming in over on this army of Sora, but you know, the Colossus is out, it's starting to roast away at some of those Zerglings and some pretty decent force fields, but it looks like Daze is actually just going to have to back up, and I feel like exactly what you were saying, that army composition is working out very, very well for him. Just those Stalkers, that Colossus, the Immortals, just doing so well against the pure Zergling Roach composition. And I mean, we do see, I guess, Hive Tech coming out, and that's what that Infestation Pit was for, but what do you think about the army composition of Daze right now? I mean, just staying on these Zergling Roaches for such a long time.
I really think it's a bad decision. Like, really, if you stay on the same composition for about 15.5 minutes of a game, you start stagnating, and then your opponent can easily just get the correct composition, as there's basically nothing else. And even if you do try transitioning, that does take a bit of time. So, this Hive Tech coming from Daze of where he's just now getting his Corruptors and his first Infestors are on the way, I think it's a little bit almost too late.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be such a rough position for him. I mean, we do end up seeing that Sorab is going to start to, you know, reproduce that army, and actually he's pushing out, and oh my god, if he hits a timing right before any of those Broodlords are even capable of morphing, he might just fall over and die right there.
Yeah, and Daze, he's trying to go for a little bit of a counter with some Roaches over towards Sorab's third base, and Sorab, he's just going to warp in a few Stalkers and then easily clean that up. And now it looks like Sorab's going to be going into the main army of Daze on the creep. Some nice fungals from Daze.
I think you're just a little bit ahead. We are sitting around like 6 minutes, 50 seconds-ish. And, you know, Sorab about to move on to that creep, though, as you were saying. So, oh, man, this could end very poorly for either army right now. And, Stalkers starting to move in, and there we do see the Corruptors and the Zerglings and the Roaches and the Infestors getting ready, and oh my god, there are those fungal growths you were talking about. And oh my god, a lot of those Zerglings just completely getting roasted by those Colossus, and oh man, those Roaches are just not able to get the engagement that they want to, and I think this is working out exactly as you predicted. And wow, what can Sorab do at this point? Or sorry, not Sorab, Daze.
I don't know. I guess what he has to count on is just hope that Sorab gets a little bit overconfident and then mismanages his units, and then maybe a whole bunch of Roaches or the Broodlords that are coming into the field right now get an easy attack on the Colossus, and then they go down and the Stalkers maybe get taken out.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he can get lucky if he can just somehow kill off this entire army effectively with those Broodlords, but I mean, at the same time, we only have 4 Broodlords morphing, and where are they even morphing? I mean, are they even close to the battle, or are they going to be vulnerable? Oh my god, the Stalker's actually catching those Broodlords morphing and force to cancel all of them, and even pick off most of those Corruptors, and oh my god, one Broodlord's not going to do a whole lot.
One Broodlord isn't going to be doing a whole lot, and I think it's almost a pretty easy target as well, since the Stalkers are already at the 4th base. And this is looking really horrible for Days right now. He lost his 3rd base and is losing his 4th. And now Sora's going to be heading on to the natural base, trying to make a little bit of a fight with a few Roaches and Zerglings, but 2 Colossus can still beat a bunch of Roaches.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be so rough for Days, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a GG at this point, honestly. I mean, Days is kind of in a really terrible position right now. He's down to just 2 bases against a 3 base of Protoss, and there's actually going to be the GG, and wow, that was kind of not super duper close. I mean, what are your thoughts on that game?
I think really that Days, he just was really stuck with his Roach Zergling composition for almost too long, to be honest. He didn't transition out into the Hive tech. He didn't get those Infestors in time. He didn't have anything to deal with the Colossus very often, and then his pushes with the Roaches and Zerglings didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was really kind of rough for him. I mean, he couldn't really do a whole lot after like that point because exactly what you were saying. I mean, that push was just so strong. What was he supposed to do at that point? And yeah, I feel like that was a pretty just standard game and just kind of kill switch, I have to say. But it looks like we are getting a little bit of lag coming in, so I'll tell you guys what, I'm actually just going to go ahead and restart the stream. Hopefully it will clear a couple of the issues up. And please don't go away. We will be back in maybe just a couple, like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So yeah, stick around, guys. We'll be right back.